What's up, everybody? Mason McDonald and Dan Haberkost here with another quick video that we keep adding to the YouTube page for the Big Picture Blueprint, where today we are just talking about all of the extremely annoying things that we have to deal with as land flippers. So it'll be a little bit of a rant coming from both of us. And Dan, I'll let you kick it off. What's annoyed you today about land
Today,
flipping?
man, gosh, you put me on the spot. My mind's been on new construction today, but probably incompetent realtors. And guys, we're going to offer solutions for everything that we talk about too. It's not us just complaining, but incompetent realtors and having to constantly source new realtors for every single deal. You know, the one that my guy sent you this morning, it looks like a good deal. We think we have it at a good deal, but it's just so hard to know.
Absolutely. Well, and I think a fantastic resource for that is one, the obvious one, hop on Zillow, hop on Redfin, look who's actually sold land recently nearby, look whose name is popping up a bunch. Another resource is if you go to the Realtors Land Institute website and search for accredited land consultants, a lot of times there's going to be some really great experts in whatever market you're doing business in. A lot of times they might be too big to be able to help you with these deals, but that just goes into you having the right conversations with these people saying, hey, I'm active. This is what I'm actually doing. I need someone boots on the ground to be able to help me with this. I'm happy to compensate you for your time in, preparing a CMA for me. But in general, most realtors really don't know what they're doing and they don't know anything about land, which, I mean, shoot, that's why I became a land realtor, is because I got too frustrated with it.
Yeah, but this is also why there's opportunity in the space, right? It's not like apartments or industrial or some of the other more efficient spaces. One more thing I'll say to tag on to what Mason said. Once you find a good realtor, a lot of times they can give you referrals for good realtors in the other areas you're in. So I have one that is in Mossy Oak, that land company in the South, and he has given us a bunch of excellent referrals all over the Carolinas. So that's another potential solution to this headache.
Absolutely. Word of mouth always matters. To continue on annoying things, it's people on Facebook.
Yeah.
I sell a tremendous amount of land on Facebook. I sell my own properties. I sell other people's properties. I bring buyers to the table. I do it all on Facebook Marketplace, and it's been really beneficial 1% of the time. I
Yeah.
think the rest of the time, it almost feels like it's wasting just every ounce of strength because there's a lot of auto responses you can do. Hey, Mason, is this available? And so it's one of those difficult things where it's like you get so many leads and it feels like it's such a great opportunity for every listing. I mean, I don't know if
Hmm.
you remember that one property I had off Geek Road
Geek.
where I got, I think, 100,000 clicks within 2 weeks on that property, and it still took over 6 months to sell. I mean,
Crazy.
thousands of inquiries, thousands, and I'm not being hyperbolic with this. And most people are just clicking on it and will never get back to you. But that right there is just one of the really annoying things that I think most people understand if they've done any business on Facebook Marketplace, whether it's listing land or selling furniture or anything like that. There's a lot of people that waste a lot of time, but there are ways to generate leads and sell a lot of land on Facebook. I mean,
Yeah, I think having a canned response that you can copy and paste with, if it doesn't have an address, the GPS location, all pertinent details, Zillow listing, ahead of time, actually backing up, you should be putting all the common questions in the listing, and that'll help some. Some people will still ask questions that are answered in the listing, but it'll help some. And then finally, I think the best solution, which Mason and I are working on pretty aggressively right now, we're excited about this, is having a good sales website, right? If you have a good sales website that you can just refer people to, they're asking about your Colorado land or your whatever county, North Carolina land, you can send them right to that link with all details. That's going to save you a lot of time.
it should. Most people won't read it. I mean, I've got so many messages from today of people saying, "Is there water on the land?" And the first sentence says, "No well installed, no
Yeah.
water." And you're gonna deal with that. I mean, to give you a tactical example, because there's so many leads in your inbox. They clicked on your land for a reason, and most people won't respond. And that's just this business in general. If you're like, I got a 10% response rate cold calling, you'd be blowing things out of the water. So if you get 10% on Facebook, it's not bad. But script today, I went back and messaged the last couple hundred people just saying, hey there, quick question. Are you still in the market to buy some land this year? We've got fresh land opportunities available right now. acreage with seller financing, flexible terms, and even improvement packages, wells, septic, electric. Here's the live property map that is constantly getting updated. Link to my sales website that we're working on right now. It's still in beta, but I'm sending it to people. And then if you don't see what you're looking for, no problem. I can help you find the right property anywhere in Colorado. Talk soon. Mate soon. www.coloradolandacquisitionservices.com. And I'm just going back and I'm going to copy and paste that message and send it to every single person. I wish there was a way that I could go back and, mass send it to every person I've ever messaged on Facebook. But it's something like, you have to recognize, and Dan and I have talked about this, it's all the little stuff that makes you money. And if I can spend an hour, I've got a walking pad at my desk on my treadmill, just copying and pasting, or hire a VA, if you want to delegate it. But you start getting responses pretty quickly, and then qualify the lead from there. But the more people that you have, even if they're just clicking on your website, we're getting like almost 100 site visitors a day on our website, and it's really boosting SEO for us. So that's one annoying thing and a solution that we all, I think, experience in this land flipping business.
Yeah, last thing I'll say is, we had a property that had been sitting for 8 or 9 months, 180 some $1,000 property, and I found a good buyer who bought it at full price on terms from Facebook. So don't neglect Facebook Marketplace. But a couple other things we had on here are no all-in solutions as far as software for the land business. And again, this speaks to the inefficiency of the overarching market, which is why there's such an opportunity. But I think Mason and I are pretty similar in our thinking here, where there are a number of software solutions that are cheap, that get you 98% of the way there, and not spending so much time constantly trying to change to the newest and best software is probably the best way to go. So I use PropStream for data. We both use Pebble for our CRM. I have Mojo Dialer for cold calling. I have a VA for skip tracing, and I think that's it. What else do you use?
I use Regrid for mapping. I know you've been using Land ID a little bit. Regrid and Land ID kind of serve as this like nationwide GIS of all the parcel data, and it's really good for quick due diligence. I use Priced as well, not to pull data anymore, but I've kept my subscription. I use it for comp reports, and it's pretty effective in markets where it's really rural or maybe there's access issues or something like that. It's going to pull some data that would take me longer. So our software stack is kind of like, the OG software stack in land flipping. I know there's a lot of good people that have created a lot of good products, but I've never had a successful split test completed that gives me better data than PropStream that I'm paying $100 for 25,000 record pulls a month. It's outrageous, the value that you're able to get for that. So I think that it would be really nice to create a product where it had everything all in one. And I'm sure there's people that are working on like a fully inclusive CRM or something like that. But at the end of the day, your time is better spent on income generating activities, which is, marketing, or your money is better spent on more marketing to these people. Because if your response rate is only 0.25%, like getting more data is not really going to help you that much. If you have like a 1 standard deviation or 1% increase in the amount of data you're pulling, like it really doesn't matter. Send more mail, make more calls, go knock on people's doors, go drive for dollars. There's so many more effective things you can do than being indecisive on your software decisions for the rest of the time.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Especially if you're a small business, all your time should be on the income generating activities. These changes between softwares are such marginal improvements. It's just not where you should be spending your time and effort. And a lot of them, I heard about one, I can't remember what it's called, but it scrubs out properties that have wetlands or flood zones or that don't have access. And on the first two, that's just, there's so many lots we flipped that have both. And that just is a function of the area and what people are willing to pay for, supply and demand. And I sell lots with flood zones and wetlands all the time. And then the landlocked thing, how are they determining if there's an access easement? Are they doing the entire title search and checking every plat? No, I'm sure they're not. So I think that's a bad idea too. So I don't agree with that.
Yeah. And the thing is, everyone's business is their own, and some work better where it's like, if there's any question of access or wetlands or floodplain or whatever it is, just scrub it out, because we're sending 250,000 mailers a month. And so, whenever you hit a certain volume, it starts not mattering. And then, so there's a little bit of nuance with it, but don't overcomplicate it, is really what we're trying to get across. Another annoying thing that I deal with all the time, and we have it as getting ghosted by sellers, but getting ghosted by buyers too, on both ends. We all know that feeling of, you've got this property, You had a fantastic conversation, or salesperson had a fantastic conversation, like 30 minutes. It's perfect. You agree on price, you agree on terms, you agree on everything. You hit all the boxes, and then you never hear from them again.
Yeah.
And it's like you almost start like thinking of all the nice stuff you're going to buy and all the investments you're going to make into your business when this deal closes, because you're buying it at 20 cents on the dollar, and then you never hear from them again. You follow up weekly for the rest of time, and they've just fallen off the face of the earth. And it happens with buyers too. I mean, I met a buyer at a property last week, happy, excited, had everything going, was talking about all his plans, and just never heard from him again. And we're following up with him every day. Like, I hope he's okay. But that's just one of those things where it's like, it's a numbers game. It just means go and get more and more volume and never become overly reliant on the expectation that you have for a deal, because most likely it's not going to happen.
Well, again, this creates a lot of the opportunity, because if you continue to follow up, most other people do not, and you can get the deal eventually. So looking at it as hey, I'm going to be buying land in this area for the next decade or decades. So whenever you're ready to sell, I'm here, I think is a good way to think about it. And along with that, just remembering that selling their land probably isn't that important to them. That's probably not at the top of their list, and they have other things going on with their life. So don't take it personally. I've seen people take it personally, and that's just ridiculous. There's a company, they had been reaching out to me for something forever, and I have ignored them because I didn't need it, and I'm going to need it soon. So I'll call them because they reached out to me so many times. So don't take it personally, and realize that, maybe they got sick, maybe they lost their job. You never know what's going on in someone's life. So that's another thing to keep in mind.
Absolutely. And it's another opportunity for you to be creative in business. Put them on a follow-up cadence, and that can be mail or text or calling or whatever. Or do interesting stuff. Like, I've got a buddy, I've never used his product, but Josh Pierce, who owns Cookie Closers, where he'll send a box of cookies. It's like $50 or something. I'm not an affiliate or anything like that, but like go check them out, where they're really tasty cookies. And it's like you can kind of personalize the message and everything, and that's going to make you stand out. Sending a holiday card will make you stand out. You don't necessarily need to send a box of cookies or anything like that. But I mean, it's doing different stuff to follow up, to get creative, to get in front of them is huge. Because if you can get these people on the phone or get them in person, you're going to be a lot more likely to close the deal. But Dan, any other annoying things you want to talk about for this short episode, or does that kind of cover some of the main stuff we deal with on a daily basis?
I mean, one of the other things we've talked about is just the ups and downs of income. And so selling more on notes and having a bigger base of notes is our solution for that. But no, I think that's a good place to leave it. All these things are solvable, and just keep in mind, every time you deal with frustration, that's an opportunity, because most people don't want to deal with it, and then they don't ever become successful. And that's what creates the opportunity within the industry, right? If there was turnkey solutions for all of this, this would be a much more efficient, competitive market, much like apartments. Right? So keep that top of mind, and it makes it a little more positive when you're dealing with all the crap.
Yep, 100%. Business is annoying. Get over it and keep trucking along. Hope you guys enjoyed, and leave us any comments or feedback as we keep doing these smaller episodes.